A lot of people play MVM for a variety of different reasons. Some play just for fun, some play for profit, and some play just to try and get those Australiums. Of course, there are 20 different Australium items in the game, 19 regular weapons, and the elusive Golden Pan, which is an extremely rare drop, giving a global announcement in-game, letting the world know that you got one of the rarest items in TF2. I've done a lot of videos on MVM this year. We've seen a Golden Pan drop, we've discussed the increasing numbers of Golden Pan drops at the start of the year, and we've also taken a look at which tours in MVM provide you the most profits. Of course, every tour other than the intermediate tours, anything that's advanced or higher, gives you that opportunity of getting Australiums, which means more and more Australiums are dropping as people play all the different types of tours and trying to give them the best possible chance. For those of you who watch my stream or have been watching my own personal Australium drops on YouTube, you'll have seen a variety of different weapons dropping, and like I said, we've even seen a Golden Pan, but there are two weapons you will not have seen drop on my stream for me or for any other person. And that's because these weapons are actually glitched. They do not drop in the game. Let's clarify. Australiums have about a 1 in 35 chance of dropping. That's about a 3% chance. So every time you play MVM and you complete a tour, if it's on a relevant tour like Two Cities or Mecha Engine, you'll have a dice that will roll and you have a 1 in 35 chance of getting an Australium. And which Australium you get is totally random. It could be a flamethrower, it could be a minigun. Now, a while ago I did a tier list of which of these Australiums is the better one to get. Obviously, some people will want a specific Australian, but if we're talking purely about which ones earn you the most money at the end of it, we did a tier list for which ones are going to net you the most profit. Things like the SMG and the Blutsauger are at the bottom, and things like the rocket launcher at the top, with the Golden Pan being in its own tier. But two of the weapons that surprised a lot of people to be in that top tier were the Medigun and the Wrench. Now, these weapons would give you a pretty decent amount of profit, and they were the two most valuable Australiums at the time. And this is a bit confusing because this pattern doesn't actually apply to any other weapon in the game. No other strangers or skins. Generally, things like sniper rifles, rocket launchers, and scatterguns are the ones that net you the most money. But why were things like the Medigun and the Wrench at the top? The reasoning behind this is that there is a glitch in the game that means that Mediguns and Wrenches do not drop from MVM anymore. That means it is impossible to get an Australian Medigun or an Australian Wrench from an MVM drop. And a lot of people will say, no, I remember getting one. You may have got one in the past, and obviously people have been getting them because, they exist in the game. I have one of each myself. I use them all the time. But for a while now, and we're talking well over a year, they haven't been dropping. And this has slowly but surely increased the price as the numbers of them haven't increased, and it's becoming harder to find them. Let's take a look at marketplace.tf right now, and these are the 5 most expensive weapons for the Australium in the game. This is no professional kill streaks, no kill streaks on them, no festivization. These are just the pure Australiums, and this is the amount that they sell for on marketplace.tf right now. And as you can see, we've got things like the scattergun and the rocket launcher, $69, $78. The Islander is in a bit of a league of its own, as it is for some reason a rarer drop than the other Australiums, but the Wrench and the Medigun are as well at the top. $90 for a Wrench and $143 for a Medigun. Now, there is only one regular Wrench there when you compare that to the 14 rocket launchers for sale right now. It's a bit of a weird comparison. Now, here is a list that shows the number of drops for various Australian weapons between January and May. Now, the numbers here are the amount of these items that existed in people's backpacks on backpack.tf at these specific times during these months. Okay, so the number of Islanders that existed in people's backpacks during January was 1,413. Now, I should state that these numbers aren't specifically accurate, because if you have a private backpack, then the items won't show up in the numbers list, and obviously things like deleting them can happen, which will affect the numbers as well. But this is an estimate on the number of drops, and you can see the number of drops between the items between January and May, and most of them have between 100 and 200 drops, the highest being the scattergun there with 192, and the lowest being, the Islander with 78, the Force of Nature with 93. They're the only ones that don't just reach that 100 mark. The Islander, as you can see, is almost half as rare, or double as rare, I should say, twice as rare as the other Australiums. It does have a lot less. And the Golden Pan there with the 14 drops. So like I said, these numbers aren't exact. There may have been people who've got them in private backpacks, but when you look at the wrench and the medigun, is actually nothing changing. There is zero change between the number of wrenches between January and May. There's actually a negative change between the numbers on the medigun. Now, you're probably asking, how could you have negative? Well, again, people may have deleted them, they may have entered private backpacks, but the fact that the numbers are that low, that they aren't positive, means that there is a big problem and that they aren't dropping. Now, there is a small chance that the wrenches and the mediguns are dropping, and they just happen to all be entering private backpacks, so we can't keep track, or people are deleting them straight away. But the more likely outcome is the fact that these items aren't actually dropping. I have a lot of friends, I play a lot of tours, I should say, and I have a lot of friends who've got a lot of tours, thousands and thousands and thousands of tours, and we check with each other, and a lot of people said they haven't seen them dropping, and these numbers definitely stand up and are evidence to that fact. So the wrench and the medigun not dropping. In fact, if you cast your mind back to last year, if you remember the crate depression that happened, that happened because Valve were actually trying to fix this, and they did actually fix them dropping, apparently, but in doing that bug fix, they ended up breaking the unusual drop rate for those boxes. I don't know how, spaghetti code maybe, you fix one thing, you break another, so them reverting that back and, changing back, just dialing that clock back on the crate depression issue, which resulted in those guaranteed unusuals from certain crates, has just put this back to these Australiums not dropping. So it'll be interesting to see if anything happens between now and sometime in the future, whether the Valve's actually going to address this issue and fix this, or whether they're just going to leave it as is, because prices are going up. If we go back and take a look at the wrench, for example, there's that one selling for $90. When I made my video back in May of last year, so just over a year ago, that wrench was around $60, and so was the medigun. The medigun is now nearly reaching $150, and if no more drop, then the amount that are going to be available in the market is just going to go down, and the price is going to go up. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always appreciating listening to your feedback. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time.